the only way this will work is you got to be authentic. You got to be authentic.
100%.
The only way, longevity, and just true personal brand or just an actual brand is authenticity. How authentic you are to yourself, to your people, to your brand. That is like the one true thing.
Welcome to episode 3 of Insure Your Greatness podcast. I am your host, Abraham Valera, and this is my guest, Jonathan Rodriguez, aka JRod. How are you doing today, my friend?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Such a beautiful day today, right?
Right?
Like, the weather is just like
The 50s.
A1 today. Yeah, really good, really good. So, JRod, I know you have your own digital marketing agency. How did that journey start for you?
It's a funny story. So digital marketing is something I wasn't really from the beginning interested in doing. Funny enough, I started wanted to get into sports psychology. That didn't really work out. I switched majors in college where I was mostly interested in.
You went to FIU straight from the beginning?
Went to Dade and then went to FIU.
Okay.
Once in FIU, I switched into marketing. That was mostly my field. I was very well versed in the digital space, and so, funny enough, with
Quick question before I actually go: did you ever join any programs in FIU?
Yeah,
Groups?
AMA.
I was in AMA.
For real?
Yeah, I was.
No way. I joined AMA. Honestly, I've only went to like one or two meetings.
Okay.
I was at the time I was working because I used to work for my dad. He owns a car dealership, so I was doing his digital marketing and branding and stuff like that. That's how I first started.
Okay.
And so that's what really got me in there. So from there, in order to graduate it, I needed an internship, and so I was looking in different places. Growing up, I'm a big sports fan, Marlins fan. I applied for the Heat, and one thing led to another. The window was closing, and then
what window? You're
just
pressure of
because the season, to apply internships and all of that, there's a few weeks left. And on Facebook, I found out somebody had posted, this guy by the name of William Castillo. He goes, he says that they're hiring. And then I messaged him saying, hey, would you guys take an internship? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, okay. So he sends me a Google invite, all super professional. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm going to this agency called TFC Marketing. And
here you are in FIU. You haven't graduated yet.
I haven't graduated yet. No, I need my second internship to graduate.
Okay.
So all super professional. I go to meet, and it's this apartment across the street from FIU, and I'm like, okay, interesting. I go upstairs. I knock on the door. I was making sure it's all right, and there it is. Will opens the door. And then I'm like, hey, I'm here in my suit and tie. So I'm in this apartment, right? You go inside. It's an apartment, but it was so professionally decorated. There's boards everywhere, writings on the walls, books, everything, boards, everything. It was a giant table,
very inspirational type of thing.
Right. There was table, long ass tables. And so I was like, okay. So I went through the interview. Again, I've known Will. I'm from Venezuela. He's from Venezuela too. So we knew each other when we were babies, pretty much. When we were 3 or 4 years old, we have pictures. But we didn't really connect until then. So we would just follow each other on social media. But so I interviewed. Then I left. It seemed pretty good. I was like, hey, you know what? I need an interview. Sure, it is what it is. Then he messages me, says, hey, I need you to come back for a second one so you meet Jeff. And so I'm like, okay. I knew he was one of the owners, William, and then he told me Jeff is the other one. So I go in there. and I meet Jeff. And so
At this time, the company TFC had already started, right? They were already
yes.
open up.
Yes, they had clients or
They had
opened
clients,
up.
okay.
They had a couple part-timers as well, and some interns, but overall there were like 5 of them, but no one full-time, things like that.
Okay.
So I go to my second interview. This time I wasn't so dressed up, but
yeah, because you already knew the environment.
yeah,
so
like I was still like, and then so Jeff opens, shirtless. I'm like, hey, and then he's getting ready to go to a meeting, and it's we have the interview, and so we say, hey, let's do it. So little did I know, I just signed on to the best ride of my life. So essentially,
and this was an intern position to do exactly what you were doing at your dad's dealership, which
kind of, yeah. So it was just in a marketing role. So they had clients, and from there, I was an intern, but I saw so much opportunity. Seeing Jeff and Will, just their drive, their hunger, it was unlike anything I could imagine. I tell this to people all the time. It's such a great inspirational, motivational just ride. And these guys are exactly what I want, what I needed, what I wanted. They both of them together, they welcomed me, and essentially, it changed my life.
Yeah.
In insane amounts. They're never take no for an answer. Their drive is a million miles a minute. They didn't sleep. So that was the first thing I saw. They didn't sleep. And it was so just attractive in the sense of like, it was luring you in. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. So soon enough, little by little, I just, came, and was in it too. So it's like, I was an intern, but I was up at 3 or 4 a.m. in my house, learning to do this video for a client.
Yeah.
And so, I was just diving in deep. And so, we can fast forward, but we went from, an apartment, then we went to a house.
Mm-hmm.
We were there for a year and a half. We started growing to about 10, 12 people, some full-timers and stuff like that. And then our neighbors started getting upset because we had so many cars in front that we were like, fine. And, we should probably get an office. Mm-hmm. And soon enough, restless nights, I would leave the house at like 2, 3 a.m., show back up at like 9 because I was trying to go to the gym in the mornings. Mm-hmm. So I'd wake up at like 6, and then we do it all over again, and it's still to this day, it doesn't feel like work.
And the thing is, like how you were talking about your friends, they having that drive is what really matters. Like how I was telling you before off camera, that skill can be taught. You can learn something. But when you have that drive about getting better and doing better for yourself, that's what really matters.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because that's what's gonna, like, I saw an interview, I forgot from who, but he was a big owner of a company, and he says when he does interviews, he doesn't care what your skills are or what you're good at. He just wants to see your energy, what kind of energy you give out, because that's what's gonna change you from everybody else.
And values too.
Exactly.
That's 100%. One of our when we do interviews at our for new employees.
100%.
That's one thing that's clicked. We've gotten we've sat across the table from experts in so many fields and geniuses. But what really does it for us is a value, because again, the TSC, how I always explain to people, it's literally been just a ship going a million miles a minute, and there's so many people on board and making it happen. But and you can be the smartest, most worked person, but it's all about your values. How committed you are to this, exactly. How there's a team effort, understanding that it's a growth operation. It's not a 9 to 5 that stops and ends, and while I do understand that's what people are looking for, and it's 100% fine on their end, but we know when we look the amount of growth, the speed that we want to go, what we're looking to just improve everyone's lives, is it you know, requires a different set of values to be committed. And that's one of the first
Exactly.
things that I always look for. You know, how committed are you to this? And we're super transparent. Time, look, you know, this is what it entails. And don't get me wrong, it's a ton of fun. Like it's people, you know, people at our office get there early or leave there late. We don't force them or say anything, but they come because they, you know, want to get ahead. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of walks of life, which is I really enjoy about what we do as a full scope digital marketing agency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you have your creative writers, your account managers, your graphic designers, your SEO experts, your web designers. There's so many different vantage points of life. And so what we do is we marry all of them together for the client. And so it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And you all, and we learn
yeah.
we learn every day. We learn every day. There's so many, you know, how little tweaks and stuff work. So
but yeah, that's for sure, like probably at least for me, how I see it in people, probably the most important thing is their tenacity of keep on going, of not giving up.
Yeah.
So awesome. So then what happened after that? You guys were gonna move out to an office?
Yeah.
From the apartment, and what happened there?
So after the apartment, we're in the house. You know, again, you know, getting used to all of that, you know, starting to set up processes and structures and stuff like that. Then we from there we started moving to an office. And it's funny how like psychology works, because like the second we move into the office, people were like, oh my God, like taking us serious. You know, like, oh my God, congratulations. Like you guys are the owners? Like where's the older guy or person? And we're like, no, it's us, you know? And it's funny because like for a lot of people, it solidified or became real once we got the office. In the house stage, while, you know, we had to go through like, because we get it.
People thought it was like a startup little thing.
Yeah, like, or it wasn't going to happen, all that stuff. So, and we've been so focused in our lanes on, you know, providing for the client, which is, I think it's been one of our secrets to success, is we literally put the client first and like, okay, what is our goal? What do we want to do? And so, so once we got in the office, like that's where it clicked for people. And so, it's just funny because we're like, yeah, we've been doing this for a couple of years now, but now it's when we get the congratulations, the good job, the
affirmation,
right? So you know, once we got that, you know, we started just, you know, growing. And you know, it's interesting because for a full scope digital marketing agency, there's so many different items that go into so many different services, and so it's like creating those processes. So it's been a journey, but it's a lot of fun. You know, there's so many different opportunities, and you know, we're now in this very nice office where there's about 30 plus people, you know, in the office. You know, I've now become one of the partners, so you know, Jeff and Will welcomed me into that, which I'm very, very grateful forever. So you know, we're now in this stage where we've been blessed to be able to work with companies like Netflix or, you know, Cosmopolitan or NBC, CBS. You know, we have clients in Shark Tank that have been featured on Shark Tank, right? So we're talking to these big brands and athletes and artists and just, you know, known people. And we're in a situation now that's like, you know, it's a blessing every day. It's exciting. I personally enjoy it. And so, yeah, it's just been insane.
Yeah, man. And the good thing is that you've been there from the beginning. So you've seen the growth of it. You see how hard it really is to grow anything.
Right.
Like I was telling you, I was making a video the other day of how things take time. People don't understand like the grind, like being in the apartment, although we're staying there till 3 o'clock in the morning, getting there at 9 o'clock in the morning the next day. You know, all that grind really takes years.
Right.
It's not just people do it for a week and then like, oh, I've been hustling hard. Like a week, it's not gonna get it done. You got to do it for a while, and then it's just not. Honestly, expectations is another thing that kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I don't know what your expectation was at first, but you know, sometimes it's you expect the best, but if you don't get there, that's fine. You keep working there. It's gonna get there at one point. You just don't know when.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So, and it's just keep grinding. That's 100%.
Yeah, and it's just to that point on the grind. It's just, you know, not being above or under, or just putting your ego and your pride to the side. That's really what it takes, and just being committed to do whatever it takes. And that was our mentality, do whatever it takes. So, growing up when it was just a handful of us, I was, where I would do customer service, or if we had to organize stuff or ship. Man, there was a time where us as an e-commerce company, for a client, we had to ship items for a client. So we would serve as the storage, and I was the guy that was shipping. I would go to FIU, their postal service, every day to ship and write stuff down myself. So I was not ashamed to do that. So it's like, whatever it takes to get there. So at one point I was our content creator. Like I had to teach myself how to use Adobe Pro or Photoshop or all these Apple products for content. So I was so and it's funny, I enjoy it, but I found myself on YouTube, how to do this, so I was literally
self-taught.
Exactly. In this day and age, all that information is out there
online. Yes.
So and it's exactly. That's where it makes it exactly. Where
no excuses.
Exactly how much of a drive you want, right? Exactly. So now it's when people are seeing more like X, Y, and Z success and all that, where I've always said, success is relative, it depends, but it took a lot of that and that mentality of do whatever it takes. And so the two questions I always tell people in the office I ask myself is it's what's next, which is that's always my number thing is it's what's next. So it's like after you work with this, okay, cool, what's next, or where do you want to take it from there? So after you do a successful campaign, I always ask myself, okay, what is next? What's next to push this forward, or to keep moving forward and show the client, or for your project that you work. So I always tell people to ask yourself is what's next. That's always a question in my head that that I always like. I feel like it really has helped me be here. It's like, what's next? What is my next thing?
Yeah, it helps you keep going.
Yes. So that, and just tell people, we got to do whatever it takes in the mentality. Obviously, the more you're growing, there's more things and stuff in place. So everyone, has their own lane, but that's essentially my sort of my mantra.
Yeah. Keep on going. Yeah, it's great, man. And the thing is, so TFC, you guys work with huge companies, right? You guys obviously do their social medias and everything as well, or what is exactly like, how does that work?
Great question. So usually we explain TFC marketing. We're a full scope digital marketing agency.
When you say full scope, it's just everything. You do all the marketing for them.
So essentially, right. So one of our things we say, if it's online, we do it. If it's offline, we help the client do it. But essentially, we broke it down to these services. So it's SEO, which is being the first page of Google, search engine optimization. That's where it brings in a lot of traffic. Then web development. So anything with developing websites, X, Y, Z. E-commerce. So that goes with selling products online, customer service, all these tools that are meant to enable and help conversion rates and analytics and things of that nature. Then we have lead generation, which is any form of lead generation, which is affiliates, influencers, ambassadors, partnerships with Men's Health, where you do an email blast, for example, with them, where you match the demographic of what you're trying to do, and you look at different partnerships and you bring them there. Content creation, where it's photos, videos, editing, etc., where content is king. Your website will look as beautiful as the content is. Writing, so we have your content writing, products, etc. Excuse me. And then ads. I think I'm forgetting one more, but ads, which is doing social ads, etc.
And from your experience of doing all this, like, because I heard you say like email blasting, obviously ads and stuff like that. Is there one that particularly works a lot better than others? And I ask only because I know there's like people like new school people more like email blasting or like sending out regular mail. That doesn't work no more.
Right.
But I feel a lot of people get a lot of like, when you get a handwritten letter or something, it's more of a personal touch. Or when you get probably an email, it's a little bit better than something seeing online. Sometimes, I don't know. It just depends. Yeah. But what works, like, which is like...
Good question.
The good one.
So, by the way, I forgot social media. That's another thing that we do. That's like a huge thing.
So my question is: there something that's like maybe more to this type of clients? This would work better, or like
Right. So it depends. That question, it's a good one, but it depends on what the goal is. So it's there's many different ways that we do, and how we like to do it is we marry all of or most of our services and form it into a campaign. How I like to say, but it all depends to your question, the goal of the client. So if it's and the product too. Sometimes there's a product where, let's say you're doing a teeth whitener, for example. That looks like a product that will do very well in a social ads aspect, right? So you do, the main driver of that is a social ads campaign where XYZ, because for example, you're a brand new company, so you don't really have an email list. So your best bet is to go through a social ad. So it depends on your goals, because then you can also do an email blast with a partnership with let's say teeth whitening. You find a brand that has a demographic that you're looking for. Then you do a partnership email blast with them, but then you also got to look at your budget. So it's a little bit of what the budget looks like, what the goal is, and what buckets you're trying to fill, because then they all sort of fill different answers. One, if you're a teeth whitening company, as an example, if you're a teeth whitening company, you do want to partner with that brand, because not only does that give you their new forms of new customer acquisition, but then that gives you social proof, because that means this brand is now co-signing you. So then as a product,
relationships,
right? Exactly. And as a product, if you're a new product, people want to see, okay, who's used it. Like, I don't want to be the first I don't want to be the guinea pig, so that they need a social proof, right? So it depends. Most of the services that we do, they, when done right, they yield a high amount of results. Our favorites, or my personal favorite of expertise, is long-term partnerships. So when we do with clients, it's long term. We've had clients for over 3 years now, 2 years, multiple 4 years, and those are the best ones, because these strategies that we put in place is for growth, long-term growth. So it's like, okay, if we do an SEO strategy where that'll probably take you 6 months, because that's how fast SEO works, because you have to show Google all the right things, but in the meantime, you're doing partnerships with influencers, you're doing different email blasts, exactly, bringing up the content, getting reviews right, then making sure that the flow and the conversion, so it's like a lot of different things. And so our strategy, our game plan, is usually for long term. So it's and we break it down into quarters and see, okay, what is the goal for this quarter? Social proof, ads, new customer acquisition.
You do that per each client you have, right?
Right.
Like
and so okay, and then okay, now client retention. Does that mean we got to talk about customer reward programs? So that this and that. And so it's a whole little thing. I usually compare it to those video games or those app games back in the day, or just probably still popular now, where like they sent like you set up like little turrets and guns here, and like then that wave of that's literally how I like to, because then it's like, okay, traffic is going through here, does it stop and die, or no, does it keep going?
So what was that game called? That was super fun.
One is like Minefield, maybe. There's a few of them. But I that's how I think of it in my head, because it's like a long-term thing, and it's test, it's okay, we did an email blast, and wow, it converted 1%. That means like there's something wrong in the process. We got to look back and see, okay, perfect. Now let's do it again. Let's see if it gets from point A to point B. So it's a lot of strategy and stuff that the team gets in. We're blessed to have such amazing talent at TFC, where we have, experts and really dedicated people that we treat our clients, our brands like if it's ours. That's why we when we form these new partnerships, we call them partnerships, because it's true. We treat them like it's us, and so we use our services to help our partners, and essentially we're super dedicated.
That's exactly true. Like, customer service has to be number one for any company, especially when you deal with different people and other different companies. Customer service has to be one.
Right.
That's what's gonna separate you, in the long term from other people.
Oh my God, yeah.
Always like, and you've seen it probably when you start growing a lot more clients. So customer service has to be like, man, we gotta get to all these clients and everything. So
client relationship, it's super important. We value it, to the highest degree. With me and the rest of the team, we definitely value client relationships, because it is important, and right, and just building a relationship with people, and then building a relationship with our clients customer is super important to us as well, because we want them to come back, and we want to have the best, help
image.
Form the best of the best, right? And so just really taking things forward.
That's your reputation or your company's reputation on the line,
Right.
for everything. Even like the slightest little thing, this customer wants the slightest little thing, just do it for them.
Right.
It's always gonna, at the end, you may seem like it's not something big, but it's gonna pay back in good rewards.
Right.
That's why I'm super huge on like Google reviews and stuff like that. Because everybody, even when you go out to a restaurant and eat, the first thing you do is like Yelp it, right? What do people talk about it? If you have a bad reputation, I'm probably not gonna go there, right?
Right.
Just because why? I'm probably gonna have the same experience. So no, that's huge. So JRod, and how about because this is all obviously like company brands trying to grow their branding. What's your take on when it comes to like personal branding? When someone's trying to grow their own, like, their own personal brand, not when it's attached to a business or anything like that.
So it's super important, right?
Do you guys work with people that have done personal branding or no?
Yeah. So we've even had clients where we do their personal branding for them, setting up a whole schedule for content, motivational content as well. So it's super important. We've done it on both sides for branding and for personal. I think it's super important as much as probably as bad as mine is right now. We've just been focused on our clients in TFC. I have made it a goal, hopefully, for this year to sort of improve a lot of our personal branding, because we do think we do have something special, being surrounded by this many smart talent and people, that I think really having a personal brand helps. I cleaned up my LinkedIn a little bit recently, but to your point, it's super important. Now what I like to tell people is, a lot of people get stuck on starting or just like the process of it, and I like to say, it's not like you do it and it's done. It's always an evolving and it's always an evolving item, everything, right? So it's the beauty of it is it's never going to be done. So just by starting little by little, cleaning up your bio, then and understanding your image. So for example, I've always since day one been very reluctant or careful about what I post online and things like that, being responsible. So because what image is out there for you,
and it's just like you never know when that time comes for you. Like if you're grinding, like putting up content and stuff all the time, maybe this one person that has, I don't know, 1 million followers reposts you, and then there is where you just like skyrocket.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure you've seen it in your business too, where you just get someone mention you, and then that's it. It's just like blows up and it goes in. So it's just one of those things. You don't really get lucky. You've been grinding for so long that your chances of getting lucky actually increase.
Right.
So 100%.
Yeah. So and we've been blessed for our own brands and things like that, where all of a sudden we wake up every week to someone messaging us or posting us or stuff, and we were like, what? This is real life. That such and such just message us. So we're having phone calls and conversations with them. So it's a lot of exciting stuff. So, but that probably wouldn't have come there if we wouldn't have a good image, or if we wouldn't have taken all the right steps to get there. But it's what I like to say about personal branding or any branding, it's a work in progress. It's always a work in progress. So if you think of it as a work in progress, there's always a version 1, 2, 3, 4. I think and branding to little chunk sized pieces or micro pieces, how Gary V likes to say, you win, or because that's how you get there. And I've seen it time and time again. I think the biggest issue is that people are always like, oh, then I have to do all, like they want to take all of it in one step, and that's going to stop you, and you're going to start following up with a lot of things. B, then that's gonna take more than time than you used to, and C, by the time you get to like the end of it, you're probably gonna want to go back to number one because you just updated it. So just taking it as a work in progress.
And since you're on the whole social media marketing department, what's your take now on, since it's like the new thing right now, TikTok?
So TikTok is an interesting platform. I know
super.
it's like I said, it's a giant time sucker, but you got to stop yourself. But it's good. I think it's a really good way to show, to expand content if the demographic's right.
Because you're very analytical, like you were saying about your stuff. So TikTok obviously like right now is flooded with like from like 12-year-old kids to probably 18, 20.
Right.
But I do see like it's growing. Like I see a lot more people, older, demographic getting into it. And I've even been seeing a lot more ads. Obviously, since there's a lot more traffic,
Right.
I've seen a lot of ads I was not seeing before. So
with what I like about TikTok is, besides the actual content, the algorithm, it's really good because it lends itself really nicely to find new content. So that's super attractive for brands. I had a friend of mine who he started a TikTok and he was just sending videos randomly. And he would get thousands of views without no one following him. So, and then I'm like, oh, wow, like that shows you, because the algorithm for it is just to show new content to people. So that's really attractive. Now you got to match that with, okay, what demographic is in there, and also have a very strategic game plan for it. For example, very recently, one of our clients, an influencer we work with, they posted it on TikTok on their own with my client's products, and it got like 500,000 views. It didn't really relate to any sales or anything like that, which I'd figured because no one's really watching TikTok, stopping and I'm like, wait, what is that product? But I can see it where, okay, if you do a sort of a all-out attack with a bunch of influencers wearing or using that same product, it's very interesting. It's so new. We've actually spoken to a few of our clients and brands how to implement it in our strategy and check it out. But everyone understands it's like a test. It's more like a brand awareness type of thing right now for TikTok, right? It's not something that's gonna lead to like sales like you were saying, but it's something that I see people go viral all the time. Yeah,
like it's just super easy, and it's super true what you were saying about the algorithm, because I've noticed that like in their explore page, I'll come across a content that has like no, I don't follow a person, has nothing to do with what like I really search up, and he doesn't even have any likes or nothing. It's just a brand new thing, and it's just super random. So it's like it gives exposure to people that actually don't even have no following or nothing, for them to probably blow up. And I think that's why a lot of people actually go viral because of that.
And I'll tell you though, that my answer was a lot brand driven, but if you're talking about personal branding, that's where you want to go. That's what you should put out a content strategy of yourself, of a personal brand, whatever your goal is, and that's free new eyes right there, which is and then from there they start getting to know you. And then you can incubate them, harden some more by saying, hey, check me out on Instagram where I do longer versions of this. And then you gain new followers.
And everyone on TikTok does that. Like if you go to everyone's bio, they're like, this is my Instagram. They're just trying to, all these eyes are looking at their, their profile. They wanted to go to Instagram.
Right.
Or, just because it's leverage.
So, going back to your the second question, for personal branding, I definitely highly recommend TikTok as a even if it's like just about what you're doing in the day. It just make sure for personal branding is okay. What do you want people to know you for, and how do you enforce that idea, that narrative in a which, by the way, like the only way this will work is you got to be authentic. You got to be authentic.
100%.
The only way longevity and just true personal brand. Or just an actual brand is authenticity. How authentic you are to yourself, to your people, to your brand. That is like the one true thing, which goes hand in hand with what I tell a lot of our prospective clients, a lot of new people that we speak to, is no matter how good the marketing, the packaging, the brand is, if the product whatever is a physical product, a service, whatever is not good or doesn't work or is fake, it's not like we're wasting our time. We're not doing anything.
Exactly.
So no matter, and even if I'm a marketer and I'm telling you that no matter the best marketer in the world, if the product is not authentic, real, good, does what it does, what it's meant to do rather, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah, no, and that's 100%. And even it goes with everything, even like making the video, your content, yeah, it has to be authentic. Only because first it's gonna feel better for you, like you're being real to yourself and to the people who are following you. You don't want
People will catch that if not.
Of course, especially in today's age where everything is online, like everything you're gonna be figured out quick if you're not authentic. And it's also just easier, man. Just be yourself.
Right.
Like if there's anything unique about other companies, it's because of their unique style of doing things, right?
Right.
We are unique as human beings, so we just gotta be ourselves, and that's it. Everything will just come back easy. So nah, I definitely agree 100% with that. And how about JRod with like, a lot of people sometimes when it comes to starting businesses, there's a lot of struggle that goes on in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people quit at times, a lot of mental things, like people fall into like, anxiety, get into like depressed modes. Have you ever had to deal with anything like that when it comes to like, even if it's simple things, like you were like, you were just super stressed at one point in your life because things weren't working out,
Mm-hmm.
or, I don't know, your family, things like that, all
Right.
that combined while trying to grow a business. How's that gone?
Yeah,
for
no,
you?
100%. Anyone tells you otherwise is
Yeah.
lying. But it's a lot of stress that goes into it. A few things that I found that have helped me. There's a lot, but two
Yeah.
that I really allude to a lot of. Me be able to perform day in day out regardless of what's going on. It's two things. One, compartmentalizing your mind. Even though I always have trouble saying that word, it's essentially what I
That's a big word, yeah.
what I mean is, I move on, or I sort of like, I learned, because I used to be horrible at this, but where it's like, I get bad news, whether it's personal, family, whatever, and it hits you, but I move on in my head, sort of like what I mentioned. What's
Flip the
next?
page.
Right now, it doesn't mean that I forget it. I'm like holding it for next. Like I'll get to that later tonight when I whatever. So really compartmentalizing in the sense of like, okay, putting this here, I'm moving on to the task at hand. So trust me, once I figure that out, once I knock that out, it helped me out where I'm able to have something where it's big news, where it's like work related or personal. Now of course doesn't mean you're a robot. You do have emotions, and it's okay to take a breather outside and be like, okay, take a minute. So that's 100%. I always tell people,
100.
Whenever you're not feeling right yourself, take a walk, take a second, come
Regroup
back, and
yourself.
then let's talk if it's wrong. But compartmentalizing really helped me out because I'm able to focus on the next thing, and then
It's like you don't get. It's just that one. It's just where you don't get stuck.
yes,
And
I don't get stuck or
people
go down the spiral or get caught up on, damn, this is the whole thing, so I'm getting shut down.
Yeah.
It's way easier said than done. It took a while for me to really master that, or just sometimes you can, but to really do that helps out a lot, because especially for smaller, because every day it's gonna be a thousand little problems. So that helps a lot with that, where okay, fix, or I'm gonna set up a meeting or a conversation for later. All right, next.
Yeah, you're just like a firefighter putting out fires all day, right?
Right. So exactly. So exactly. So it's like that, and then just like not letting that stress carry to the next one, because that isn't stressful enough. Why are you gonna multiply it? And then pairing that up with breathing, just simple breathing.
Oh, man, that's
There's people in the office when I'm stressed and stuff, when they hear me just like,
yeah, people forget to breathe. You know, as dumb as it sounds, people honestly, when they're in a stress mood, they should actually just forget to breathe in, and
right,
that really relaxes you and puts your mind back at ease. And
100%.
and just something really quick.
Right.
It doesn't have to be like to meditate for 30 minutes, but you should just breathe in and
really,
grab your thoughts back, right back.
Yeah. So deep, sometimes sit in my office, or take a walk for a second, just like, and just breathe it, literally 3 breaths. I'm like, all right, think for a second and then get back in it.
Exactly.
So pairing those two things, there's a lot more, but pairing those two things would be like my number one items that I tell people that's how I, deal with stress and stressful situations.
Yeah.
Because then that lets me, to be able to focus. And so my usual strategy on tackling, objectives and things like that is I try to break it down to bite-sized pieces, like I mentioned earlier, so I can then, tackle instead of one whole giant ordeal.
Because it's so like it's crazy to me how we make things such a big deal, and when we go back to think about it, it's like, wow, that wasn't even that bad.
Yeah.
We make things such a big deal because we're in the moment and it's just right here, right now, so it's just huge. But if you just take a step back, breathe, right, and just see like it's something that could be fixed. Everything is fixable. It's like I was telling my friend the other day. There's only two things you could do, right? If there's a problem, why worry about it? I mean, if there's a problem and you can fix it, why worry about it? If there's a problem you can't fix it, then why fucking worry about it, right? Like, what can you do? Like, just it is what it is. You try to do your best, and then, like you said, you just flip the page and you keep going.
Right.
It's the only way to do it, 100%. And how about like, is there anything like, do you have anything special you do like working out wise that's not inside of the work territory that you do? Like, is it like you work out, you go out, like, I know people go out biking all the time to like, just some form of exercise, or do you have like a good morning routine that you do? I actually saw talking about this in your TFC, did something about yoga at one point.
Yeah.
We like, do you guys
right
like,
so we do the yoga, we do a monthly events as a team. So we've done yoga twice. We also did we went to this extreme park. It was like trampolines and stuff like that as a team.
like a Sky Zone type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar to that. In Doral, and so we did like a whole like team exercise, like dodgeball and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. Very very cool. But now as far as personal, unfortunately, I used to be big in the gym. I haven't gone back to it. That's one of the things I really want to get to this year. Getting back into early gyms and sessions and all that. For the last 2 quarters, I've just been, dealing a lot with, focus on work or, getting married and moving out and just, yeah. So I've been spending some of that time into personal, building that and with my fiance and all that. And so that's mainly what I've been focused on. But as far as routines, I do like every night to prepare my next day. On Mondays, I'm usually in the office by 5 a.m. getting the week ready. I'm usually there early, but Mondays I usually go there extra early to prepare for the day, for the week, etc. But that's another key right there that I usually tell people, just preparing is the key.
No, 100%, I agree. So then, JRod, since you like asking your employees like what's next for you, what are you doing, like what do you have in goals for 2020, your first quarter, like what do you have going on?
That's a good question. So right now for 2020, we are really looking to really focus in on our processes internally. And by that I mean, as the team has been growing, we've been blessed with a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of new ventures that we're about to take on for 2020. So it's just organizing ourselves and being able to get ready. Hopefully, we're TFC. Like I said, it's been a vehicle to many other different ventures. So we're looking to start spreading into that. So with that takes a lot of preparation. So I've been just focusing heavily on with the team, being able to help with a lot of client relations, a lot of preparing our steps from when we have a new client all the way to ongoing, what does that process like finalized look like. So it's just right now 2020 has been, we've been saying our year in the sense of like preparing everything, because the second quarter, the third and fourth quarter is where we're really looking to attack and and really make all the different plans that we've been setting into effect for the end of the quarter, and 2021 is where we have a lot of our partnerships, a lot of
Yeah.
these things we were working on the wraps blossom. So we've been planning for this since 2019.
Yeah.
But 2020 is just the year where a lot of things solidify for us internally. So that's essentially what's next. You know, it's a lot of growth. You know, the team is growing, and so we're working. You know, we have a whole training center that we were like about to start too, for the TFC way.
Like a training for like your employees.
Well, for new employees and stuff
Okay,
like
okay,
that.
okay.
So it's like, okay, how does that work? You know, so it's we're just working now on ourselves, you know, version upgrade of ourselves.
Got
So
it.
that's what 2020, the first half is really for us, is just making sure we're solidified as we you know, continue to invest in ourselves, in our clients, and new partnerships that are about to, you know, come in the way.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. All right, JRod. So if you had, I guess for the last question already for the podcast, if you had one thing that you've learned throughout your life that's helped you out tremendously that you think, you know, if you can teach it to somebody else or tell somebody else, what would that one thing be that you think it will help them out in their life in general? It doesn't have to be, you know, business related. It could be anything. It's something you probably already mentioned in the podcast. What would that one thing be that's helped you out? And you were like, wow, that flipped a switch in, you know, my light bulb. What would that one thing be?
It's a couple things, but I would say that I would say just dedication. By that I mean, you know, growing up in life, I've never been the best like baseball player. I've never been the best at, you know, video games. I've never been the best at like different things. But the one thing I have always been more than others is I've always cared the most. Whether it is being a fan of something, whether it is learning something. I know one of my skill sets was I've always cared the most, and so I use that to my advantage. And so that led to a lot of dedication and just caring, you know. And so by that I mean, you know, I then led me to, you know, caring so much that I became very dedicated. Then I understood my surroundings, which that's another thing. It's probably was a 2 for 1, but that's another thing that I tell people. You know, one thing that has really helped me is that I understand my surroundings, and and when we're doing a campaign or a project for a client, it's not only like what it is, but if you understand why, like why are you doing it, I think that's what sets us apart from the rest. Is we care about why are we doing X partnership with such and such, or this one thing that the client asks, because from there, once I understand why, I have a different mentality, especially in everything that we can do in the digital space that probably the client is thinking about. So we can do what they asked us to do times 10 because I know where they're trying to get. So I'm like, oh yeah, we can get there, but we can get even further or faster or XYZ if we do this also to supplement that. And those aha moments are really good. So, you know, for me, it's just dedication and careness, and which leads to why are you doing it, and understanding your surroundings, because that way you know, okay, why it's happening, what's going on, you see the opportunities, and you pair all that up with, you know, just never give up. Don't take no for an answer. You can literally do whatever, you know, your mind said to. You just got to put in the hours and just understanding it. But that's essentially what I like to tell people. It's for me, it's a little more simple than one thing, but it's like a trickle down effect, or as far as what. But that's been what drives me, how I like to usually attack or you know, go about things.
Yeah, no, bro, dude, that's 100%. I completely agree, and it's just, it really is the reason why you do things is the most important thing, right?
Right.
The reason why, like, why you want to build a business, why you want to do this. Is it because of the money? Is it because of the fame? Like, what is it for? Is it because you really want to make an impact on people? And I think that's usually the biggest one.
Right.
You're trying to really do something out of service because you really feel good, the kindness of your heart to do things. And then the money just comes with it, right? Like, it just comes. It's almost like just a byproduct of doing the right thing.
Exactly.
So I agree, man. Well, JRod, thank you so much for being here, my friend. You're going to be a married man soon.
Yeah,
very, very soon.
Yeah.
All right, man. You enjoy, and thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.